Hi, to whoever is remaining in the room. Thank you for staying for this. My name is Dean Maltz. I'm a partner of Shigeru Ban Architects. I'm the partner of the New York office. I'm very honored to be here. I want to make special thanks to Yoav Messer for introducing me to this conference. Thank you very much. And special thanks to the Israeli Building Center and the chairman, Aaron Rolls, who I met in New York. I'm just trying to plug in this control.
Oh, I'm sorry. You have a clicker too.
Yes, thank you. First, I'd like to begin by telling a personal story. In the 1980s, my uncle, Samuel, a successful businessman from Mexico and a Zionist and philanthropist, was asked by the mayor of Jerusalem, Teddy Kollek, to donate an ice skating rink to the city of Jerusalem, which he did. The ice skating rink was called Sammy's Rink. The mayor of Tel Aviv, Shlomo Lahat, was a good friend of my uncle. So when Shlomo found out about it, he asked my uncle why he didn't donate to his city, Tel Aviv. My uncle's response was, because you never asked me. The mayor then said, well, now I'm asking. And I have a nice park on Amsterdam Street that I'd like you to renovate. My aunt was jealous that the ice skating rink was donated in my uncle's name, Sammy, so they named the park in her maiden name, my last name, Maltz. So I'm very honored to be here. It's very special to come and present architecture here, and perhaps one day we'll be able to build something in a park similar to the park in Amsterdam, on Amsterdam Street. This is my partner, Shigeru Ban. Shigeru Ban is a Pritzker Prize winner, 2014. We have 3 offices around the world. We have one in Paris, Tokyo, and in New York. I manage the New York office, and I'm responsible for all the projects in North and South America. Together, we've done over 150 projects on 7 continents. Shigeru Ban Architects is a multidisciplinary firm. We do museums, performing arts centers, academic, office buildings, commercial, retail, residential, hotel and hospitality, and humanitarian. Pretty much a full-service architect. Now to address the issue of disconnect, the thesis for our conference. How can architecture help us realign our future? Technology is dislocating. Architecture has the power to bring us together. Being physically present in this place facilitates serendipitous encounters and allows us to meet with other people and feel connected. The quality of architecture is what attracts people and invites people to come together, which raises the question, what makes great architecture? At Shigeru Ban Architects, we've been exploring this for the past 33 years. There are many types of connections that can be made: historic, environmental, cultural, and others. In essence, these aforementioned connections make special places that promote connecting to one another. Architecture has the power to bring out humanity through connecting with nature. One of our projects that literally makes a connection is the Oita Art Museum in Japan that connects the interior to the exterior. Great big bifolding doors open up the street to connect the public to the outside. It makes the building more accessible to everyone. Here in the Pompidou Metz Museum, we connect to the context. We visually connect one building to another using these gallery tubes and these picture windows at the end of the gallery tube. In this case, we connect the Metz Pompidou Museum to the cathedral at Metz. And then connect to history. This is a project in New York called the Cast Iron House. My client's here, sitting in the audience. It's a renovation of a historic landmark building built originally in 1882. It's one of the finest examples of cast iron architecture in New York and perhaps in the world. We completely gutted the interior and constructed 13 contemporary duplex apartments within a historic building and placed a modern two-story addition on the roof. And then connecting to nature. This is another residential project in Japan, and the premise was to create a garden apartment on a piece of land without cutting down any trees. Each of the 11 duplex apartments look out onto a tree-filled courtyard, and none of the trees were cut down. We sometimes call this project the Swiss cheese building in the way that the holes are cut out of the roof. Technical issue here. Are we able to advance? We also use materiality as a form of connection. The Tamedia project is an office building in Zurich, Switzerland, whose structure is all wood. All posts and beams are mass timber, creating an atmosphere of warmth and a humanistic connection to natural materials. Next, please. Sorry. This is my partner, Shigeru Ban. He's speaking at a TED Talk in 2013. He's holding an ordinary paper tube. Paper tubes are commonly available material. They're frequently used as a core of rolled materials like carpets and fabrics. Shigeru began thinking about using paper tubes structurally when changing a fax paper roll in the 1980s. Some people here may not even know what the fax paper roll is. We use the internet now. The benefit of paper tubes construction is the ability to be used as a low-cost construction material that can easily be recycled. In 1995, Shigeru designed his own weekend house outside of Tokyo. It was the first time the structural paper tube was granted a building permit for a permanent building. Unfortunately, after Shigeru built this house, he got too busy and he hasn't been able to use it. The Hanover Pavilion, built in 2000, was the Japanese pavilion for the Hanover World's Fair. Typically, the exhibition buildings are constructed of concrete and steel. Shigeru was thinking about what happens when the buildings are torn down, not when they are first built. And not wanting to create industrial waste, he designed 3,000 square meter pavilion all out of paper. The paper is the structure and the building enclosure. In 2005, we designed the Nomadic Museum. The Nomadic Museum was designed to travel from New York to Santa Monica and then Tokyo. Shipping containers and paper tubes support the roof. As the building travels from city to city, shipping containers can be rented and paper tubes recycled. Throughout Shigeru Ban's career, he's been helping victims of natural disasters. Shigeru has completed over 35 humanitarian projects in 17 countries. In 1995, after the earthquake in Kobe, he built 30 paper log houses. Many of the projects rely on locally sourced materials. In India and in the Philippines, Shigeru used paper tubes in connection with woven grass, mats, bamboo, and wood, showing how we can adapt to the local cultures. And here you can see different examples built in 3 different countries. Along with the paper log houses, Shigeru built the paper church. This project demonstrates that it makes no difference if buildings are made out of permanent material or temporary material. All that matters is if people love the building. And 13 years after standing in Japan, the paper church was rebuilt in Taiwan in 2008, and it's been there ever since. The Christ Church Cathedral in 2013 started after an earthquake that destroyed the sacred cathedral. Shigeru Ban was asked to rebuild the church, and he used, again, paper tubes. Now, using half-meter paper tubes that are 16-meter long, we built a 20-meter tall paper cathedral. And even the cross is made out of paper. At first, the priest protested out of concern that the paper cross would be considered sacrilegious, but Shigeru told the priest that the word for paper in Japanese is kame, which also means God. After hearing that, the priest was most accepting. And from the early investigations of paper tubes, Shigeru Ban Architects has been investigating with other materials, including wood, which has led us to creating mass timber structures today. This is the exhibition of multiple Shigeru Ban projects at the Todo Gallery in Tokyo, showing scale models and mock-ups. There are benefits to building in wood. First are the environmental benefit. And here, actually, on the presentations I've been seeing for the last couple of days, I see many structures built out of stone, but wood is a very primary material. Wood sequesters carbon from the atmosphere and helps reduce global warming. Big problem for today. Here you can see how during construction, steel releases 2.8 times, nearly 3 times the amount of greenhouse gases as wood. But when you consider that trees could absorb carbon, the result of using mass timber is a net positive, meaning we take carbon out of the atmosphere. The benefits of wood is the performance. Prefabrication allows for higher quality and faster erection time, hence reducing project costs. And wood is economical. It acts both as the finish and as a structure. And then there's the psychological effects of wood. People respond positively to wood environments, and the data shows there's improved health benefits and productivity. Shigeru Ban Architects has been experimenting wood since the inception of our practice. This is the Furniture House 1 in Yamanashi, Japan. We created these we created these plywood cabinets for which the entire roof is supported. And after building the furniture house, we built the plywood space frame roof spanning over 20 meters by 28 meters.
ועידת המפקחים, הרצאתו של מרק בראון, Construction Inspector, מודל עבודת המפקח בעולם, תחל בדקות הקרובות באולם בת 7 שבקומה -1. אתם מוזמנים לאולם.
Typically, steel structures have spray-on fireproofing or gypsum wall board to protect the structure from fire. Then if a wood finish is desirable for the interior, plywood panels are applied. In the GC Osaka building, out of a desire not to waste material, and have redundant material, plywood was used as a fireproofing element, thereby eliminating the need for extra material. We demonstrated that plywood could be used as a fire protective material, and this was the first project in Osaka to have the approved use of using wood as a fire protective material. Having wood that can burn at a predictable rate to maintain the fire rating is the basis of mass timber design. Centre Pompidou Metz opened in 2010 in France. The museum is 11,000 square meters. Its mass timber roof structure is based on a woven Chinese farmer's hat. The structural grid is comprised of hexagons and triangles. The pattern is well suited for designs in Israel because the Star of David is inscribed in the structure. The building is built in a park, and the glass shutters open up to the park. The Aspen Art Museum, completed in 2014, was designed to contextualize the surrounding neighborhood. The simple form of the building echoes the historic brick buildings. The woven facade of wood lattice strips make up the facade and fits in with the nearby buildings. Like the Frank Lloyd Wright Guggenheim Museum in New York City, the Aspen Art Museum was designed to be experienced from the top down. Shigeru felt that the most beautiful thing in Aspen wasn't the art, but it was the nature itself. First, one ascends to the very top, as you can see on the right, and then to the grand staircase on the left, you could descend and enter into other galleries. This is La Scène Musicale. La Scène Musicale is a 40,000 square meter performing arts center located in Paris. It was built on an island called Ile Seguin, a former industrial brown site that once housed the Renault factory. Sitting atop the building is a concert hall with mass timber structure and a photovoltaic sail. The sail moves around the orb as it tracks the sun and provides supplemental energy for the complex. There are two theaters inside this performing arts center. One is a 1,200-seat concert hall and a 5,000-seat multi-purpose performing venue. Paper tubes, which we often use for temporary structures, are used permanently here, and they form the acoustical baffles on the ceiling. This is a recent project opening up last year, 2017. It's of the Mount Fuji. It's the Mount Fuji Heritage and Visitor Center. Mount Fuji is a great national treasure of Japan. They say the origin of Japan came from this mountain. It was recently named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. A competition was held to create a cultural center and museum, and many Japanese architects submitted literal representations of Mount Fuji in their design. Shigeru turned the mountain upside down so that the image of the Mount Fuji is visible in the reflecting pool. The inverted conical form contains a spiral ramp which travels through the exhibition space. At the top, there's a picture window framing a beautiful view towards Mount Fuji. This is the Swatch Omega headquarters in Biel, Switzerland. It's comprised of 3 buildings, a factory, a museum, and an administrative building. The curvilinear shape is the administration building. At 43,000 square meters, it will be the largest mass timber building project in the world. And here's another recent project, still under construction. It's called the Terrace House. The Terrace House is in Vancouver, Canada. It's a 20-unit high-end residential condominium. Only 3 condominium units are alike. It will be the tallest hybrid mass timber building in the world upon its completion, standing 20 stories and 70 meters tall. The base of the building is concrete to harmonize with the adjacent building. At the top of the building, there's an 8-story mass timber triangle. That's pretty unusual because typically in America, you can't build timber over 8 stories. Here in Canada, we were able to have 8 stories above 12 stories. And last, I'd like to present one of our recent projects. It's called the Kentucky Owl Park. It's situated on a 420-acre reclaimed quarry, which will be filled with water to create lakes. It's composed of a train station, a visitor center, a distillery, barrel storage buildings, and a bottling center. The structural designs are the reinterpretation of 19th century steel structures reimagined in wood. There is sound to go with this. Thank you. Just goes to show what one could do when you start imagining. Now, back to my childhood. When I was a child in Hebrew school, we'd collect quarters to plant trees in Israel. I understand these trees would turn the desert into an oasis. The humble tree is a giver of life, provides us with food, shelter, and oxygen. Wood is the building blocks of our lives. The technology that has created a sense of disconnect has also facilitated our ability to build with wood. Today we can build mass timber structures at scales larger than ever before. And this is a recent development of the last 20 years. By harvesting wood and incorporating it into our buildings, we can improve the quality of our lives and create healthy environments for generations to come. Thank you.